Hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Narconon and Scientology Chronicles. And for this story, I wanted to share something about Narconon's Celebrity Rehab and a little bit of backstory behind that. And back in 2004, when I decided to step down as president of Narconon Arrowhead, amidst all the chaos and things that were going on in terms of being run by Celebrity Center and Able, plus the stuff in Narconon locally and Narconon International. I was done with that. So I wound up taking a leave of absence for about 6 months. I was given a directive to be off post by Clark Carr, who was the president of Narconon International at the time, and it was sort of to save face because they couldn't allow the truth to be known, which was I stepped down. So instead, they issued this thing saying that I was no longer qualified for the position, and then I needed to basically take some time to study and do some other enhancement in order to be qualified to finish out my staff contract, which was great. I got a break from it, and that part was fine. So I took a few months and was doing that. And when I came back in September of 2004, back to Oklahoma to finish out my staff contract, I received a call from Simon Hogarth. Simon Hogarth was the Narconon consultant for Able International, Sea Org guy. He was like basically the Narconon representative. He came out for different events that we would do at different times and things like that. And I really liked Simon. So he called me up and he said, look, we're trying to open this Celebrity Narconon. It's not really feasible to keep sending celebrities and referrals from celebrities to Arrowhead. It's too big. Like it's not really a good spot for it. So we have identified a property and we want you to come out and run this Celebrity Narconon. Well, at that time, I had no intention of moving to California and being run directly by Able at that point. I'd stepped down as president of Arrowhead because I didn't want them to be involved in my day-to-day actions as much, let alone run one that is directly under them. So I said, no, I'm not the guy. It's not going to happen. I'm not interested in doing that. But thank you, I'm flattered. So I turned that down. Shortly after that, like within a matter of weeks, Kelly Preston shows up and toured Narconon Arrowhead, and she was going to be opening a Narconon in Hawaii. And Gary Smith came to me and said, look, Luke, we need someone to go out in Hawaii and do some advanced stuff, to do some drug education, to work with Kelly Preston, and to help establish Narconon in Hawaii. You're the guy to do it. You're kind of the only one who meets all the qualifications here and who has experience working on what he called celeb lines, working with Able and Celebrity Center and doing stuff with Kelly Preston. Well, I didn't want to go to Hawaii either. They said at first, you're only going to go for 5 weeks. It's not going to be, it's just a short-term thing to help establish this, and then you can come back. And I was like, hell no, I don't want to go to Hawaii. That's even further. Like I'm not interested in doing that and getting stranded out there. And again, having being run directly by the entities that I didn't want to be, under their thumb in terms of Celebrity Center and Able. So I was able to pitch this other staff member, this guy, Bobby Newman, who, I hope one day still gets freed from all this. But I pitched him as being my replacement. I said, look, why don't we send Bobby? Bobby, he meets the other qualifications, and I can help do some training with him, and he'd be a good guy to go, and I think he'd be flattered to go. So I wound up getting that approved for Bobby to go instead of me, which was wonderful. It was a huge relief for me, and so he gets out there, and if you go to actually a website, an old website is still up there, it's drug-free-kids.org, is this video series that Kelly Preston put together for Narconon drug education, specifically for Narconon Hawaii, to distribute to schools in Hawaii. However, at the same time some of this was going down, the article in the San Francisco Chronicle came out that the California Department of Education basically denounced Narconon drug education. So Hawaii saw this, and so they wouldn't be allowed in public schools, but they were allowed to go into some private schools, and they did their best, and they started going. Bobby Wiggins went out there, the IAS Freedom Medal guy, some other people started going out there, and they were trying to establish Narconon drug education in Hawaii with the intent to open a treatment center there. Well, Bobby ended up staying for years. I think he was out there for like 4 years or something like that. So it was a good thing I didn't go, because not only was it a serious pain, but you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere. And yes, Hawaii's beautiful, I get that, but not Hawaii under the direction of Narconon and Abel and Scientology as a whole. That is not a beautiful Hawaii in my book. So they tried like hell to get Narconon established in Hawaii. They did drug education. Eventually they got into some public schools here and there. You know, Kelly Preston used her celebrity status to get some support from, I think, the lieutenant governor and some other people, and her old school. I think it was like Punahou High School. And then June Jones was former Atlanta Falcons coach, who was the coach of the University of Hawaii football team at the time, and they did a little bit of work with them. So they were trying to get established. Meanwhile, Bobby is then directed to help find a building to open a treatment center, to open a program there. And they were in talks with a building that was formerly owned by the government, or still potentially still owned by the government. And they were trying to do some kind of lease to do that. And I think they started to get there, or were trying to do some outpatient services, but it never really fully got off the ground. So eventually they shut down the whole operation, and Bobby went back to the U.S. and started doing whatever he's doing now. And along that line, Narconon didn't give up their idea of opening a celebrity rehab. So during this time, they quit sending most of their celebrity people to Arrowhead, and they started sending them to Louisiana, partially because the retention rate at Arrowhead had dropped below 50%, meaning that more than half the people who enrolled in the program didn't even complete it, let alone, were doing well. They never completed it. They left for whatever reason they call it. They would blow, or they would get suspended, or for breaking the rules, or doing something else. So they started sending celebrity people to Narconon, Louisiana, but they never gave up. They wanted a celebrity rehab. In comes the Larry Hagman property, Narconon Ojai. And eventually they purchased that, and I was fully out by then and not involved at all. But you can see that they continued on the process, and in 2015 they held their grand opening. I think it was September of 2015, and Kelly Preston was there to show support and speak at the grand opening as well. So unfortunately, as you may know, Kelly Preston passed away last year of cancer, and there's a different video that I did as far as hoping that John Travolta would someday make it out of Scientology, and I still hope that to be true. You can go back in the channel and take a look at that one. But as far as Kelly Preston and Narconon Hawaii and Celebrity Rehab, Scientology Celebrity Rehab, that's a bit of the backstory of how it even came about, and my involvement and ability to dodge getting sucked into at least that part. There you go. Till next time, I'm Lucas Catton for Narconon and Scientology Chronicles. Take care.